I'm keeping them motivated and focused during this time, the same way I do when things are normal. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Start Today podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cavallini. Today, we have an awesome episode for you. Going back to the Q&A format, thought it was time to bust out a Q&A episode. A lot of people sitting at home, a lot of free time, no better time than the present to work on yourself, focus on your personal development, and do the things that you can do to level up during this transitional period. Before we jump into the episode, in the building today, Brain Morgan. What up, Brain?
Man, it's good to be back. I love it.
Yeah, man, it's been a minute. How's everything going?
It's been great. It's been great, man. A lot of going on though.
You want to share with our listeners the transition that you recently made, and maybe tell them a little bit about kind of the leading up events to that transition, what kind of pushed you over the edge to make it happen?
Sure. I mean, I started working at a production company a while back, and I loved it for a while, and eventually some stuff just started happening within the company to where I began to lose the passion and the drive. But I feel like there's some part of that's on me. But either way, I began to meet some other people, get into some books, and start to do a lot personal development wise to realize I want more for myself. And then at that point, it was like, well, best thing I can do is to go out on my own, find it for myself. And you're not going to find it unless you let go of what you have to grab what you want.
Damn right.
And I did it. And some people say, well, you did it at the worst time, because I did it February 4th. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, man, you lost all your work, everything with what's going on in the world. But at the same time, no, that's just opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually enjoying the fact that I'm in the situation I'm in.
Yeah, because I know, this is something we talked about for a while. You asked me what I thought about it, and you were going to make the move months back, mm-hmm. and then I'm not sure what happened. Maybe they threw some more money at you to get you to stick around for a bit.
They did.
And you just realized that, it wasn't about the money. You wanted to open up shop for yourself and do your own thing. And what I've found when it relates to making any sort of changes and beginning something new, or just starting down, a new road, regardless of circumstance, there never really is a perfect time, is there?
No, never. Because you could make any excuse for, well, I wish I had known this, or you just got to do it.
That's it, and you've done it. And so, welcome to the world of entrepreneurship, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's all I can say is I love it so much. So
yeah, I have days that I say that. I have days that I'm, on the opposite end of the spectrum. But I think, there's far more days where, I love it, and, I'm grateful for it, and just can't imagine myself doing anything other than, mm-hmm. Just being in business for myself than doing anything else. So
I remember my first day. I can say I was like, I found all these leads, I found all this work. I was really excited, and then day 2 came around. I had no leads. 2 things came back negative. I'm thinking this was the worst decision ever. Like, it's the worst thing. I just couldn't handle it. I was like, wait, this just happens sometimes. Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
It's an emotional roller coaster, to say the very least. But there, as you alluded to, there is a lot of opportunity during this time. And, mm-hmm. Now you can just do everything in your power, which is a lot, to just, to stay relevant, to stay connected, to make a good impression upon the people that, you're trying to go into business with, to earn their business. Because, during this time, most people are focused on themselves. Most people are focused on their own well-being, and, trying to figure out whatever, they can do to, I guess, maybe mitigate their own situation. But if you can differentiate yourself from everyone else by showing your potential customers during this time that, you're still thinking about them during, a time of uncertainty, a time of adversity, during a time that's pretty tough for a lot of people, I think, mm-hmm. that'll speak volumes and certainly go a long way. So hopefully you can continue to do that.
Be a leader. Absolutely.
Damn right. So guys, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for staying positive amidst what many people, not myself, but many people will consider a negative situation. You'll hear me a lot, when I'm alluding to what's going on right now. I don't use negative terminology to describe what's happening right now. I'll use things like, transitional period, uncertainty, right? Uncertainty, not really positive, not really negative. But I think the words that we use and just even the words that we think as it relates to these things do play an impact. So I know, those of you who've been listening to the podcast for a while, you understand the importance of maintaining your composure, setting a good example through your actions, and just doing everything, that you can to not only help yourself, help the people that you care about, but just set a good positive example for the outside world on how to carry yourself, how to conduct yourself, and how to basically navigate your way through these waters, these unfamiliar waters during this trying time. But I thought that it would be a good opportunity to bust out a Q&A episode. It's been a little bit since we've done these. Those of you guys have been keeping up with the podcast, keep up with me on social. I love the Q&A format. I love just, answering your questions. I love just being able to, be there for somebody who has a very specific question and give them my perspective on it. And, I'm also aware that a lot of these questions, when people ask these things, typically it's something that a lot of people probably can relate to in some capacity. So, we went through these questions. We got 5 of them, 5 of what we decided to be the best ones that would universally give the most value. So let's just pop right into it, brother.
Sure. First one says, "Hey, Chris, thank you for putting out your content. I swear every time I'm about to lose it, you always pop up with a great message or video. Gets my head back in the game, especially when I'm at work and encountering the COVID-19 patients." Wow. "Your message has consistently always been about eating healthy, exercising, working on your personal development, and having the right mindset, which I feel during this time is more critical than ever, as we see so many people seemingly not handling this current situation very well. I would like to know how your mental health is holding up and how you're keeping your team motivated and focused during this time. With all responsibility, how does Chris Cavallini reset at the end of the day? Thanks so much, Lou." It's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good question. Just
because you guys are still working.
Yeah. We're an essential business. And, now I feel our customers, whether it's our existing customers, we have a lot of new customers that are coming in. This is a time they need us more than ever. I made some notes here for this question, and what I'm about to say isn't a note that I made. I was unsure of how I was unsure whether I wanted to bring it up or not. But last week was actually the highest revenue week in the history of our company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I hate to glorify the fact that our company is, financially doing well at the expense of, what's going on in society. But I think it's a testament of what's actually happening and people awakening and basically pulling, their heads out of their ass on a metaphorical standpoint, as far as realizing the importance of prioritizing their health, eating well, consuming foods that boost immunity, consuming foods that, fight and cure disease as opposed to feed it. So me personally, I've never been better mentally. I'm in a great place. Just overall, I have learned to thrive in situations where there's adversity present, when, things aren't going well. I've learned to just take a firm position of seeking out, the positive, searching for the opportunities present. And, with the more you do that, the more experience that you have with that, the easier it becomes to do it. It used to not be like that. It, used to be where, the positives and opportunity only became noticeable, or I guess I only became aware of the things after the storm, so to speak. Once the storm passed and, things kind of settled back to normal, then I would be able to pick and decipher the learning lessons, the opportunities and things of that nature. But when I learned to begin to start looking for those things in the moment, things started to get easier as far as navigating your way through that uncertain situation. And, now I knew from the beginning of this thing, this is going to be a very, very valuable opportunity for us, not on a financial spectrum, to make more money. Obviously that's something that I guess has happened, but more so it's a good opportunity for us to finally have a way to validate to people the things that, we talk about as a company, the things that I always speak about regarding, it's like, look, the things that we talk about on this podcast, he alluded to the fact that my message has consistently been about, eating well, exercising, working on your personal development, developing your mindset, etc. I think now we're seeing just how important it is to actually do that stuff. And, the issue is a lot of times people don't begin to take those things on board until it's too late, until they're in the middle of a situation, like as we are now. But, I guess I kind of saw, I always knew at some point, man, there was going to be something that happened. I mean, there's no way to quite put your finger on it, but the world is just too complex of a thing for everything just to go super well all the time. And, the fact is, it doesn't matter if it's the coronavirus, it doesn't matter if it's a world war, it doesn't matter if it's a financial crisis. At the end of the day, the way that we prepare ourselves for all of those things is, again, through the healthy eating, through the exercise, through the working on our personal development and developing our mindset. Because when we do that, I mean, we're conditioning ourselves to be just people who are familiar with those feelings of discomfort. So when the real discomfort comes, it's not as uncomfortable for us as it is the normal person, because our physiology, our mind, it's used to experiencing those feelings. So you essentially build up an immunity to it. And, why is that important? Well, it's very important because when you're not controlled by fear, by anxiety, by stress, by panic, by all these just negative feelings that so many in society are basically, being controlled by at this point, it allows you to think clearly and make good decisions. Decisions that are in your own best interest, decisions that allow you to basically decide the best course of action for yourself, for your family, for, all those that you care about. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, we're all in the same situation, to some degree at different levels. What's different and the thing that is going to vary the most is how we're dealing with it. Are we viewing it as the end of the world? Are we just, thinking that we're never going to be able to pay our bills, or just focusing on every worst case negative scenario? Or are we looking for the opportunity present, right? Are we, sitting at home complaining about the fact that, we're out of work and we're not going to have, the opportunity to make money for an unspecified period of time? Or are we going on offense and scouting out essential businesses that could use some help during this time? Businesses like Nutrition Solutions. I mean, I wouldn't say we could use some help. We could always use good help. I'm always actively recruiting good people. But I went on, my Instagram the other day and said that if there was anybody out of work who was looking for some, looking to earn some income during this period, I'd be happy to put some people to work. Not because we need it, because I think it's the right thing to do. And I don't know that I'm super unique in that aspect. I'm sure there's a lot of other people like me. Maybe they're not using their social media platforms, but perhaps if you presented yourself or pitched yourself, sent out a video explaining your situation and what you were prepared to do and how you could contribute during that time. I mean, I would have to think, the world's full of good people, man. Yeah. A lot more than not good. So that's the thing. It's like, what are you doing? Are you sitting at home doing nothing and, waiting for, that knight in shining armor and the white stallion to gallop in and save you, or you can gallop in and hand you a duffel bag of cash? Or are you looking for ways to minimize and mitigate any sort of damage or fallout with this? So my mental state is good. My mental state has never been better. I'm just looking at just different opportunities that I can capitalize on in during this time, to help people, to inform people, to educate people, to talk people off a ledge, to teach people a better way of dealing with these things, and perhaps most importantly, to really do anything and everything that I can to make sure that when this thing blows over and life returns to a sense of normalcy, that people don't go back to their old way of doing things, where they're not prioritizing their health, They're not being disciplined with their money. They're not saving the way that they should be. They're not doing all the things they need to do to prepare themselves for the next storm. That's the most important thing to me at this point is, I think now with so many, resources and businesses and services and all these luxuries that we have available to us, in this country during this time, which is without question the greatest time that there ever has been, to be alive just in the history of the world. A lot of people now are seeing that these things that they've been taking for granted, these luxuries, these perks, these amenities, all of these things that are just, no longer there or, temporarily not there. It's like those things are not rights. Mm-hmm. They are privileges. And we have to learn to be a hell of a lot more appreciative and grateful for all these things. And, I think this is actually a good thing in a lot of ways, in the sense that people, you don't know how good you have it until you don't really have it anymore. And I think that's there's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of value in that, in that aspect. But
there really isn't a better time to form new habits and new mindsets than now, because once you get busy, once you get back to your normal routines, mm-hmm. you're really not going to want to get into a new way of thinking or a new way of doing things.
Well, it's hard. It's hard because you have so much energy going towards so many other things that, mm-hmm. It would be difficult to do that. Change is difficult at any time, especially, when you're in the thick of things. But as far as how the team's holding up, how am I keeping the team motivated and focused during this time? He asked, I'm keeping them motivated and focused during this time the same way I do when things are normal, right? I'm just reminding them of what our mission is. Our mission is to help people dominate their goals and create lifestyle transformations through nutrition, motivation, accountability, and a world-class customer experience, okay? There's no caveat in there that says that we only do those things when all is well in society, when, there is no pandemic going on. There's no, little fine print that says, well, we don't do this if the coronavirus hits or if there's some sort of stock market crash or mm-hmm. anything like that. Our mission is our mission 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And it's something that we take very, very seriously. It's something I take very seriously. And, it's obviously now something that a lot of our customers that have been with us a while and a lot of people in the outside world are starting to really recognize the value in. They're recognizing the importance of being healthy, staying healthy, what could potentially happen if you don't. And, during a time where there's not a lot of things available, right? Like mm-hmm. pretty much all forms of entertainment out the window. A lot of people are out of work. The grocery stores are not only, areas that you want to avoid because you don't want to be within close proximity of, that many people, but beyond that, grocery stores are heavily understocked. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, the vibe of the people in the grocery stores, it's almost like, people that are going in there, I'm not saying everybody, I'm sure there's some people that are listening that are, perfectly normal, just trying to go get a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk, whatever. But you see on the news, man, there's almost like that Black Friday mob mentality going on at a lot of grocery stores because mm-hmm. people think they need to go buy up everything because that's the only sense of control. These are people that more than likely have not prioritized their health. These are people who more than likely have not disciplined themselves as far as having a little, nest egg financially to prepare themselves. So these people that are going in with this scarcity mindset, trying to hoard up everything they can to, perhaps just feel some sort of sense of control. So, that's not the type of energy that any of us want to be around right now. So basically what I've been reminding our team of is, right now with so many things uncertain, with so many areas and businesses and amenities and these luxuries that people are so used to, we have a responsibility more than ever to continue to press forward, to continue to provide our customers a level of service, not that they're used to, but on a on a level above. Mm-hmm. Because if nothing else, us continuing to stay in business, us continuing to push forward, us continuing to give our clients that peace of mind and comfort, knowing that they're going to have what they need to, help them stay fit, to help them stay healthy, to help them stay well, to help them stay clear of grocery stores and other people and, all that shit. It's also going to give them hope. It's also going to give them the comfort and hope that regardless of what's going on, that we still have their back. Regardless of what's going on, we're still willing to show up every day to work longer hours if need be, which we absolutely have been, and to do everything in our power to see to it that they're taken care of, because that is the most important thing to us, is to keep them on track, to keep them healthy, to keep them happy, to keep them fit, and to keep them well. And, now more than ever with all the gyms being closed, like people got to tighten up on what they're eating. You don't have the ability to go to the gym and burn off as many calories as normally, even if you're doing like, the push-ups and sit-ups and these home workouts a lot of people are doing. You're still not going to be able to get after it, at the intensity that you're normally used to. So it's super important to get even more structured, with the foods that you're eating. And you have the ability to do that with so many people out of work, so many less distractions. Most people being ordered, whether they're out of work or not, to stay at home when they're not at work. You have more energy to do that. So there's really no excuse during this time to not be a little more disciplined and prioritize, what you're eating.
It's true.
So let's move on.
Let's hit the next one.
Yeah.
It says, "Hey, Chris, I love your podcast and the work you do. You've changed my life in many ways, and I thank you for that. I've been more or less consistent with working out and eating well since January, but because Canada is under quarantine, I have been stuck at home playing video games and doing my diet and workouts at 50%. I feel like I'm going back to my old ways. I have no excuses for what I'm doing, and I just need to adapt with this new way of living. Are there any pointers or advice you can give me and the people under quarantine to stay in shape and live our lives happy despite the obstacles being thrown at us every day?" From Anonymous.
So you've been working out and eating well since January, but because Canada is under quarantine, you've been stuck at home playing video games and doing your diet and workouts at 50%. That's really interesting. I wasn't aware that the Prime Minister of Canada issued a stay-at-home to play video games order. I didn't hear that.
I'll have to look that up later. Not bad.
Yeah. So look, let's just kind of walk our way through everything that was said here. It looks like the beginning of the year, maybe you set a resolution to start eating good and working out. You did that for a short period of time, and then something happens, this something being the coronavirus and the stay-at-home order that, is pretty much everywhere, but in your neck of the woods. And instead of using that time, that extra time that you've been generously gifted to where you can, you can invest more energy into meal prepping. You can invest more energy into learning about nutrition. You can invest more time, working out, even though if you don't have the luxury of being able to go to a gym, there's still no shortage of exercises that you can do that don't require any equipment, simply your body weight, or you can just use stuff around the house that you can lift to do some sort of resistance training. And there's all kinds of stuff on YouTube, especially now. A lot of content creators are putting out content for home workouts to kind of, do their part to support. So that's all there. It's all free. But you're making the choice to play video games. The choice. It's a choice. Okay. So, your question, do I have any advice or pointers to give you and the people under quarantine to stay in shape and live our lives happily despite the obstacles being thrown at us every day? The only obstacle I see being thrown at you with this current situation is, your Xbox or PlayStation 4. That's the only obstacle, the only real obstacle I see within this situation that's deterring you from staying consistent with your diet and doing the workouts that you need to do. So I would say, if you're somebody who just cannot control themselves and has to play video games for hours and hours and hours, whether you're online playing with other people in other countries, communicating through the little headset or whatever they do, or like, you're trying to go in story mode and, you just can't stop till you beat the next level and beat the whole game through. Get rid of the video game system. Get rid of the video game system. You want a solution? That is a real solution. I know people that are like this. I know people that simply like they can't just sit down and play like 20 minutes, 30 minutes of video games.
Yeah.
They just can't. So if you're one of those people, be self-aware enough to acknowledge that and get rid of that shit. Okay. Because that's the thing. That's the problem, not the coronavirus. You have more time and energy now to actually allocate towards eating good, to getting surgically precise with your portions, to learning new recipes, to eating consistently, every 3 hours on the nose, which does great things for your metabolism as far as allowing your body to burn more calories throughout a 24-hour period. You are not going to have all of this extra energy and time forever. It is your responsibility to utilize it in a way that is in your own best interest. Now, I want to get a little more specific with you, right? Besides throwing out the video game system, which maybe you don't have to do that. Maybe you can discipline yourself enough to not let that suck you in and end up, pissing your day away doing that. But whether it's you or, anybody else in the situation, if you don't want to completely regress with your fitness, completely regress with the results that you've worked so hard for during this time when you're at home, you need a schedule, you need structure, right? In your normal life, when you have your normal routine, you have a schedule, right? You have structure. Structure is one of the healthiest things that we can do for ourselves as individuals from a productivity standpoint. So you absolutely need to set a schedule to where, you're spending this time every single day preparing your meals, or maybe you're only preparing meals a few days a week or a couple days a week, or if you're using a meal prep company, even better because you don't have to spend any time. But either way, make sure that you're carving out that time and not just getting to it when you can. So you have that in advance. Make sure that you're working out at the same time every day. I don't care if that's the morning. I would suggest doing it first thing in the morning. That way you, start your day off in the best way possible. You get it out of the way. I mean, look, a lot of things can happen throughout the day. And if we go throughout the day, expel all of our energy, and then at the end of the day, we still haven't got our workout. And there's a higher probability that we're going to, omit the workout for the day.
Try again tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll try again tomorrow. But that's not how we do things here. No. Get it done first thing, same time every single day. Develop and implement as much structure as humanly possible during this time to keep yourself on track. And again, if you are finding yourself, glued in front of the TV, playing video games, whatever, dude, just get rid of it, man. Just get rid of it. You got to ask yourself at the end of the day, what is more important? You, unlocking whatever achievements that are to be unlocked with the highest level in the video game, or being fit, being confident, right? Being healthy. And on the other end of this thing, going back into the world, right? Being re-released out in the wild, just being the fit, energetic, confident specimen that you were prior to the prime minister locking you down on video game games. Quarantine.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Go to the next one.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
It
says, "Hey, Chris, do you have any advice on how to deal with my baby mama? Our relationship is toxic. No matter how nice I am or how hard I try to take care of our 6-month-old, it's not good enough, and she constantly crucifies me. I still kill her with kindness, but man, it's exhausting. How can I change my mindset or way of thinking to regain some control? Love you guys, product and content. It has made me not only more physically healthy, but mentally too. Thank you," from Anonymous.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. Appreciate your honesty and vulnerability. I could answer this a number of ways. I'm going to try to make this just direct and as simple as possible, right? Because these situations are complicated.
Very.
They're complicated. There's always a ton of different variables, and everybody always has a reason to, why it's different for them. But the fact of the matter is simply this, okay? Your baby's mama, so he didn't say his ex, but I'm gonna guess that it is his ex, right? I mean, his baby's mama, normally people don't refer to their significant other as their baby's mama. So it's a little vague, but I have to answer this one way or the other. So I'm going to answer this under the pretense that it is in fact your ex. your relationship is toxic. Okay. You have to recognize not only what that's doing to you, but what that ultimately is going to do to the baby. At this point, it's not going to do anything, right? The baby's too young to be aware or to pick up on any of these negative exchanges and just overall, like just the environment. But that's not going to last forever. Eventually comes the day where the baby is cognitively developed enough to start picking up on the vibes, to start picking up on the energy, and to be influenced. I mean, this is coming from somebody who, I mean, I lived that. I lived that my entire life with, people telling me, my dad, who was never around, was just this terrible person. And I never met the guy, but I had a lot of resentment and animosity and anger built up towards him from a very young age. And again, it was put there from someone else who had obviously ulterior motives, as it were. So, you got to get this sorted out, and you have to recognize that you always have options. If, you're talking about changing your mindset or way of thinking, like, I mean, look, if, judging by the way that this question was written out, judging by the way it's obvious he is someone who invests in his personal development, he listens to the podcast, you might not have to change your mindset or way of thinking. I mean, look, we all want to work on improving on our mindsets and way of thinking, but you have to realize that, there's no like Jedi mind trick that you can play on someone to where like their negative toxic energy just doesn't impact you anymore. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. I mean, now you could, of course, become a little more, I don't want to say immune to it. You could become a little stronger, a little mentally stronger, a little more resilient to where it doesn't bother you as much as it would bother, a weaker minded individual. But the fact is, that doesn't mean that you should still allow it in your life. If you're trying to kill her with kindness and, you've sat her down and explained to her why it is in, you all's best interest to get along, to be cordial, to be respectful, to do what is best for your baby, who one day will be old enough to know what the hell is going on. If you have done all that and you feel that she has no hope of turning it around, then you need to start looking at other options. Now, if you haven't, then I suggest you have that conversation. Ask her to sit down and have a very uncomfortable conversation, but recognize that uncomfortable conversation, I mean, it could change your entire life. It could change her entire life. It could change the relationships that you both have with your 6 months old, their life. But you have to recognize that sometimes some people simply do not change. And if you are somebody who is working on evolving and developing your mindset and just becoming a better person, which it seems that you are, you're going to start noticing that this person, who, obviously you guys probably were once close, you probably cared about her a great deal. If you're putting in the work to better yourself and she is not, I mean, you're going to evolve, you're going to grow, you're going to be at another level, and then you're going to look at her completely differently. Even though she was probably the same, she was always that same person, but now you're just looking at her from a different perspective. So it doesn't matter what you do. In fact, in some cases, when you're working on bettering yourself and becoming just a better person and just developing your mindset so you can be a more just productive individual to provide a better life for yourself, for your baby and all that, people who were once close to you, who are not doing those things, a lot of times it actually causes them to develop feelings of resentment and anger and hostility and animosity, and it actually makes them worse. That's a real thing. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. There's absolutely nothing we can do to change that, because we're certainly not going to stop doing the things that we're doing to better ourselves. I mean, fuck that. So you got to look at some real options. Like, you might have to get some sort of mediator, whether it's a family member, whether it's a court-ordered thing. But you have to draw a line in the sand, and you have to recognize how much energy this person is taking from you, okay? Energy that you could be investing into other productive things, and realize that you have options out there. I mean, there's plenty of people that, have children and have no contact with each other, right? That doesn't mean that they're less good parents. It just means that they've decided that it is in their own best interest not to communicate and to have some sort of structural agreement in place that would prevent or eliminate any possibility of any sort of negative interaction that would obviously cause conflict between themselves and cause issues with the kids. And that's a tough thing for most people to kind of like get, I guess, to that level. And you know, you might think, oh, I don't want to do that. She's just going to, you know, freak out even more. And yeah, she probably will in the beginning. She probably will have a bad reaction to that because, you know, what she will realize at that point is, you know, you're not f***ing around and you're about to take a level of action that will basically take this platform away from her that gives her the opportunity to get a rise out of you, gives her the opportunity to bother you, gives her an opportunity to experience temporary feelings and moments of significance, because that's all she's doing. That's all she's doing. You know, she doesn't have your attention anymore the way that she once did. And she wants to do everything in her power to get your attention, even if it's not in a very positive manner, which obviously it isn't here.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So you gotta think about that. You gotta think, how much are you willing to take? How much do you want to take? And that shouldn't be very much. The fact is, if somebody's involvement in your life is making your life less good, that is unacceptable. And you absolutely need to explore all options, because the other thing is, you're not aware. You don't even realize how much, you know, you think you're saying it's exhausting. You don't even you have no idea. You do not know how this is affecting you. And how can I say that? Well, because it's not until something that's affecting us, whether it's a positive way or a negative way, it's not until that thing is no longer in the equation. It's not until that variable is no longer in play do we actually grasp and come to terms and fully recognize and understand how that was impacting us. So I will tell you that your life would be a hell of a lot better if you're feeling exhausted by this woman's involvement in your life. Just recognize that, you know, you would be in a much, much better place if the situation was resolved. So one of those two things, either you sit her down and you have that conversation, you take responsibility as much as you can. You let her know that, you know, the reason that it is so important to you for you guys to get on the same page and to be respectful toward each other and to be cordial is because you guys have the same goal. You guys are aligned on the same mission, and that's to raise the best baby that you possibly can. And there's just no way possible you're going to be able to do that with the current dynamic. And again, if that doesn't work, you go the other route. But either way, doing nothing and expecting the situation to change on its own, that's not going to happen. So time to step up and make some moves.
It's true. Going to the next one. It says, Chris, what are some quality snacks you like to eat between meals? This is from Adams_Apple671.
So you want to know about some snacks, some treats?
The Doritos. What's your snack?
So the reason I wanted to include this here is because I just found the question interesting, and I wanted to clear up something that, you know, people might think is correct or is appropriate, or I don't know. What are some quality snacks you like to eat between meals? So this person operates under the belief system that snacking in between meals is something that just absolutely needs to happen. Like every human being does it. I mean, he's asking me like it's something that I do. So he believes that snacking in between meals is just something that has to happen.
How do you survive between breakfast and lunch?
Right. Without a snacky. I guess I'll just start by saying that I don't really snack. I mean, I suppose I will have a snack, I guess, from time to time, but it's not like a staple, routine, or mandatory part of every single day between every single meal. Again, I've talked about this a million times on a lot of different podcast episodes, different talks that I've done, content that I put out. The key to having success as it relates to our nutrition is by practicing mindful eating. Okay. And what that basically means is we're eating healthy foods that are portioned appropriately to support whatever our goals are, and doing so consistently throughout the day. We're not haphazardly just getting up, rushing out the door, You know, because we got up at the last possible second, and then, you know, come lunchtime, we're super hungry, so we grab the first thing that's available to us, which is typically the most unhealthy thing. And then, you know, maybe a little later we grab something from the vending machine, and then later, like, that's not mindful eating. That's chaos, and that's not going to go well, period. And even when you think like, oh, I eat a healthy lunch, I eat a healthy lunch every day, and your interpretation of a healthy lunch is a Subway sandwich. Like, mindful eating is just that you're mindful of what and how you are eating. And if you are mindful eating, you don't have to eat snacks, right? You're eating meals consistently throughout the day that are portioned appropriately to support your goals, to support you having high levels of energy, to support you feeling good. And you're practicing portion control and mindful eating in a way where, you know, when you're eating, you're not really overeating till, you know, you get full, and you're not waiting like all day or several hours to the point where you get super hungry again to eat. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So, but again, I want to answer the question, I guess, but I wanted to preface with that.
Sure.
I guess for snacks, I mean, I like pecans, but I don't eat things in between meals. If I guess, I don't know, maybe like at night, maybe like a handful of pecans with some organic honey, or an apple. I'll chop up a apple and, you know, have with like a tablespoon of natural peanut butter. Normally, though, I eat those things not as snacks. I'll eat those things with like as part of my actual meal. But I wanted to put those out there to kind of give perspective as far as what my interpretation of snacks, what that means to me as it relates to what it means to other people. Now, I'm not saying I never eat bad, right? I'm not saying I never eat like a slice of carrot cake, or, you know, like a chocolate chip cookie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. I'm not saying I never do that, because I would be lying to you if I said that. I don't do it often. I certainly don't glorify it when I do, because I know that there's some weak-minded people out there that would legitimately see me do that one time and then in their minds think that they can do that. It's like, I mean, I guess if you work out as much as I do, if you're as lean as I am, and if you're eating as consistently well as I am, you absolutely can do that as frequently as I do and not have it affect you in a negative way. Yeah. But unless you have all those variables present, like, it's not going to affect you the same way. And that's why I don't ever put, and plus I don't really want to, the thought never, oh God, I really wish I could post this picture of this cookie or whatever. I don't think to do that. I mean, there's plenty of other people out there that, you know, you could follow if that's the type of thing that you're into. But yeah, mindful eating, guys. Let's just stop worrying about quality snacks. Stop investing energy thinking about quality snacks. If you're asking that question, it's because you don't have an awareness of how good you will not only look, but how good you will feel if you do what I just described, as far as ensuring your meals are good to go ahead of schedule, right? You go into your days having the meals that you need prepared for the day. You're eating portions that are consistent with what it is you're trying to do with your body and health. And you're eating consistently throughout the day to where you never really get hungry. You're not eating to get full. And, you know, by doing that, you not only like mitigate any sort of risk of overeating or undereating, you also condition your metabolism to operate at the highest level possible, which basically means the amount of your metabolic rate is basically the number of calories your body burns at rest throughout a 24-hour period. A lot of people are operating under the flawed belief system that their workouts are burning a lot more calories than they really are, and they're just not. They're just not. Like, you're not burning as many calories as you would like to think that you are during your workout. So what's really important is we eat well and train our bodies in a way where, you know, we maintain a significant amount of lean muscle mass. The more lean muscle our body has, the more calories our bodies will burn naturally throughout a 24-hour period. Yep. So yeah, hope that helped Adam's apple.
One more. Let's do it. It says, "Hi, Chris. I'm a new fan and listener to the podcast. I appreciate your straightforward, no BS approach, and had a question for you guys. I'm in my late 30s, married, 2 kids and have had a good job with a growing company the last 5.5 years. I show up to work every day, do my job, despite seeing some success the first few years as far as raises and promotions, and have even received awards. I've been stagnant the last couple of years, which has left a bad taste in my mouth. This has impacted my attitude, motivation, and I feel like I'm not appreciated or valued by my superiors anymore. The business has been growing the last couple of years very steadily and is considered an essential business, and I am still in a position to come to work every day and earn income, which I get the fact that a lot of others are not able to do so right now. I guess my question is this. We've heard a lot about the importance of knowing your worth. So at what point do I just stop accepting the lack of acknowledgement for my loyalty to the company the last 5 years and go start over somewhere else that will appreciate me? I appreciate your consideration. From Anonymous.
It's an interesting question. So a couple notes I made. It was a long question. He did a good job of kind of laying out his scenario and his situation in the last 5.5 years. He mentioned the fact that he shows up to work every day, does his job, and puts that out there like it's some sort of meritorious accomplishment. So I want to just lead by saying that showing up to work and doing your job isn't an achievement or noble act at all. Showing up to work, doing your job, and doing it well also isn't some sort of noteworthy accomplishment that should be glorified and put on a pedestal. In fact, that's the bare minimum. I mean, that's the price of admission. That is exactly what you are supposed to do. A lot of times we hear people say things like this, and it's evident that they don't get it. When you are working at a company, when you're working in a business, okay, like that business is investing in you. That business is giving you the opportunity. You are not giving the business an opportunity. All right. There's hundreds of millions of people, in this country, okay, that are all in the workforce. And the fact is, we have to realize that the competition out there is stiff. And if you're not showing up and, not just showing up, but if you're not showing up, doing your job well and consistently bringing more value and evolving and growing, then you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're dispensable. Okay. In this, in the narrative, he had mentioned that the company's been growing the last couple of years, or what did he say here? The business has been growing the last couple of years very steadily. And let's talk about that. Okay. When a business is growing very steadily, like what does that mean? What is that indicative of? Well, if a business is growing, it's because like they're making shit happen. They're making moves, right? The CEO of the company is innovating. Okay. He's investing millions of dollars into the company, right? He's coming up with strategic plans to scale. He's taking risks. All right. He's setting up infrastructure that is consistent with growth. And, he's dealing with the lawsuits that show up in business. Okay. And he's working with individuals that are able to facilitate that, right? Individuals that are able to come in and solve real problems that drive results and move the company forward. This person had mentioned that the first couple of years with the company, he saw a little success, right? He said that he got raises, promotions, and even receive awards. And he says, I've been stagnant these last couple of years, left a bad taste in your mouth. Well, here's the thing. I mean, it sounds like, you said it, not me. It sounds like the company is doing good, right? I mean, not only has the company grown steadily year over year, but it's still in business now because it's considered an essential business. So you're worried about not feeling appreciated. You're saying that you know your worth, and at what point should you stop accepting the fact that, you know, you're not being as appreciated as you believe you should be, and, you know, walk away, go somewhere else and start over. Well, the question that I have for you is, what is your worth? What do you perceive your worth to be? And where have you ever heard anywhere that a business or a supervisor, you know, your superior as a boss, whatever, where is it written in any sort of law or code that they're required to appreciate you? I mean, look, I'm just being real here. Like, I, first of all, fully understand the importance of appreciating your team. Okay. Nobody understands that more so than me. But something that you really need to take into consideration is if you're not doing things that deserve appreciation, if you're not doing things that deserve recognition, what do you expect them to do? Like, false praise you? Do you expect them to fabricate a trophy, participation trophy, saying, "Hey, good job showing up to work every day. Just want to let you know you're really appreciated." You know, you have said in this, in this message that your company is a company that does, you've received raises in the past, you received promotions, and you've even received awards. So it seems that the company does have an infrastructure in place that is supportive and consistent with acknowledging team members who contribute value, who are doing a good job, who recognize people that are putting in the work. I think the question really is, it comes down to the fact is, are you pulling your weight? I mean, are you doing the things that you need to do to contribute to the growth that the company is seeing? Or are you making the mistake and doing what, I've seen so many people do over the years when they're a part of an organization or a team that is thriving, that is growing? Do you believe, or are you operating under the mindset that just because you have a seat at the table, that your direct contributions are actually resulting in the company moving forward and growing? Because normally, okay, I'll just tell you from personal experience, from my own experience, from a lot of entrepreneur friends that I have, we don't neglect, we don't undervalue, we don't underappreciate the people who are kicking ass and who are helping our company get better, who are helping us get better. Okay, those are the people you need to take care of. Those are the people you typically put up on a pedestal. So I ask you to, really do some self-reflecting. Think about what you did the first few years that, resulted in you getting those promotions and the raises and the award that you mentioned. And what have you been doing the last couple of years? Because in this write-up, I mean, you really haven't said you've done anything other than show up and do your job. You've said that you've shown up and done your job, and you've been loyal to the company. Like, you've been loyal to the company. Like, you have a choice to be loyal. If you're not loyal to a company, they're going to get rid of you. I mean, what are you? It seems like you're doing the bare minimum, yet you're expecting, your boss, your superiors, the people who are working really, really hard and also getting results. Okay, because the company's moving forward as per you. You're expecting them to divert their attention away from the things that they're doing to actually bring real value and create real results and to make an actual impact, to secure a future, to take care of the team, to ensure that jobs are kept, especially during this time where a lot of people are out of work. It seems like your expectation of them is for them to stop focusing on the things that they're focusing on that are actually getting real results, and to come back down and walk around and hand out participation trophies and pats on the ass for people that are showing up to work and doing their job. Now, I know that's, sounds very sarcastic and is kind of a, dramatic analogy, but I think you should kind of understand where I'm coming from. And the last thing that I want to say with this is, I do not like when people say, "I know my worth." I don't like when people say that. I don't like when I see memes on social media. Your worth is your worth, okay? And if you were worth more, you would be getting that. I mean, we are worth what we are worth. I mean, that's not I mean, we can certainly sit there and believe and manifest and, think to ourselves that we're worth more than we currently are getting. But then we absolutely have to have the accompanying level of action to support that evaluation and assessment in our own minds.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the reason I think I dislike that saying so much is because I've never one time heard a successful person say it. I've never one time heard someone who is winning in every area of life, someone who's taken on full responsibility. I've never heard anybody who I really have a lot of respect for say that. Typically it's said kind of like this, and kind of a complaining, almost like, oh, I know my worth, like cry, like
a lack of gratitude.
Yeah, complete lack of gratitude. It's like and the thing is, he spells this out here where he says, we're an essential business and I'm still in a position to come into work every day and earn income, which I get the fact that a lot of others right now are not. I think you really need to just reevaluate that statement and really reevaluate and understand what that means. Because there are a lot of people right now who are out of work. There are a lot of people right now who probably won't be able to go back to work till at least the beginning of next year. And it's not because of the quarantine or the coronavirus. It's because this situation is going to put a lot of businesses out of business. There's going to be unemployment will probably be the highest it has ever been.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But you're over here complaining about what your worth is or is not. Look, I don't know. I could be way off base here, but I just wanted to say what initially, my initial thoughts, just based off my experience and just hearing things like that, throughout the years. Normally, things like this come from people who come in, do a good job for a little while, and then they get complacent, right? They get a little taste of success, they get a raise or two, and then they throttle off the gas, or they simply don't evolve. They just keep doing what they were doing. Like, this guy might be doing the same shit he was doing the first 3 years, right?
Yeah.
But you've already been compensated for that. You've already been given raises. You've already been given promotions. To get to the next level, that's going to require a next level of you. That's going to require additional contributions. That's going to require for you to solve higher level problems, to bring more value, and to essentially justify that business investing more monies and resources into you. This isn't something where you just show up somewhere for 5 fucking years and then that means you're automatically entitled to getting fat raises every year because in your mind, you're loyal to the company.
No. What solution did you bring? What benefit were you to others?
Or did you even do that? Or did you straight up? Because, when you're saying here, your superiors, whatever left the bad taste in your mouth. Yeah, you're not appreciated. It's affected your attitude and motivation. So with you openly admitting, which I respect a great deal, your honesty, that your attitude and motivation has been negatively impacted. Like, who the f in their right mind is going to compensate you at that point? Do you think that by having a bad attitude and not being motivated and not going above and beyond, doing that little extra, doing a little more than what's required, like we talk about, which is the only way to get ahead? Do you really think that somebody's going to see that and be like, oh, well, he's probably doing this because he knows his worth, and yeah, because he's showing a poor attitude and lacks motivation, let's go ahead and just give him more money and he'll get that motivation and good attitude back. Like, I know, but do you hear how stupid that sounds? Sure. When you say it, it's like, oh, whoops. So look, I hope that that was helpful in some way. And I hope that helpful to a lot of you guys out there. Like, please, unless you're bringing significant value on a consistent basis, unless you're evolving, okay, meaning you're getting better, you're able to do more and contribute more to a business, don't ever go around glorifying your loyalty to a business like a badge of honor, because you showing up and doing work and getting compensated for it. Loyalty is that's not a thing that even belongs in that conversation.
Yeah, you have to say it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
If
you have to say that, that automatically disqualifies it, and you should recognize that that's I'm glad that you said that. That's what actually, that I could have simplified the whole thing by just saying that if you have to say it. So
It's
good
true.
point.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, good stuff. Guys, love the Q&A format. And, Brain, maybe, depending on your schedule, maybe we can, I don't know. I don't want to overcommit 'cause I do have a lot of things going on, but I know people need us during this time. Maybe we can, during a lot of podcasts aren't even doing podcasts right now. Maybe we can step things up and maybe not do 2 week, maybe do 2 every other week and one, whatever, which the one we do the second one will be Q&A to kind of interact more with people and kind of support them, help them through this time to just stay more connected during a time that people need. We'll talk about that.
I think we can up the content though,
Yeah,
for sure.
we
I've got it. I agree with you.
Yeah, we can. We should. And guys, I'll always do my best for you because you mean a lot to me. And look, I love this shit, and I know right now we have a responsibility to do a little more than what we normally do. And I want to be here for you guys. So really, really appreciate the questions, appreciate the support. If this episode or any of the episodes have impacted you, please take the 30 seconds to go on iTunes and leave us a review. Those reviews are so important to us. And the fact is we do not have enough of them. Okay. I think a lot of you guys don't really understand how important they are to whereas you don't do it. And I certainly hate asking for things. But I also recognize that if I didn't ask, they wouldn't get done. So guys, if you've ever gotten just a shred of value from the podcast, from anything that you've ever seen me put out, whether on my social media platforms, with any of my interviews that I've done, or if you've seen me speak, it would mean so much to me and it would help us out immensely if you could leave us a review on iTunes. But guys, thank you for listening, and we'll be back soon with some fire. In the meantime, stay positive, stay strong, stay resilient. And of course, if there's something that you've been waiting to do, something that you've been putting off, something that you just feel you didn't have time for in the past, recognize that there is no better time than right now to start making it happen. Later.